Just working out how to record on Zoom as well. Yeah, we'll give it a few more minutes if that's okay. I can see a few more people joining the meeting as well. If you'd all like to maybe, I don't know, unmute yourself and possibly come on camera, that'd be brilliant. I think you just joined Rochelle. What we're going to do is start with the workshop actually, rather than me doing the performance. Now, this was meant to be done at uni, so I haven't really got the same space, if you like, at home. So we're going to just start with the workshop, have a bit of a chat, and then kind of see where we go.
Holly?
Yes.
Hi. Can you remind me what kind of things would be useful for the workshop? Because
Yes. I did put a little bit of a list up. For me, I've just got some ready mixed paints, some paintbrushes, and then any other kind of random objects, so things like a wooden spoon or a nail brush or a sponge, just any random objects that you can find, if that's okay.
Yeah, great, thanks.
Yeah, I think we'll get started. Rochelle, you got Maisie with you as well, because it'd be quite cool if you can maybe turn your camera on and we'll see what you're doing as well. Don't worry if not though, that's totally fine. Right, okay. I think we'll get going then. So this is actually part of the non-essential show. So it's a group exhibition for Leeds Beckett Fine Arts students, level 5. And it's from Monday of this week all the way until Friday. Kind of looking at how artists work during lockdown, and we focused on the theme of pandemics. So working in different spaces, and some of us have obviously researched, different things. You may have seen this on our Instagram page, because I have done a lot of advertising on there. Or you may have seen it through Eventbrite, I'm not too sure, but either way is fine. So this is called Gender and Performance. I have been looking a lot at kind of the idea of performance and the use of objects and how that associates with masculine and feminine kind of expectations in a way. And just using kind of random objects to make art or to make a mark. So I don't know what you've all got with you. I mean, it'd be quite interesting to maybe find out what we're all using today as well. But if not, then that's okay. Yeah, I'm just letting a few more people in, which is brilliant. Now this is the second kind of workshop that I've done as well, so a little bit nervous, but we're okay. I'll just give it a few more minutes though, because I can see a few more people joining. Now what I'm going to ask is if at the end you can maybe send me photographs of your work. Now behind me is something from the last workshop that I did. It turned into quite a mail art style project where I was doing a workshop, people were creating in different spaces, in different domestic environments, which I found quite interesting, and then sending me their work. So in a way challenging the role of an artist and making it quite interactive. Now I do a lot of community kind of art events as well, a lot of virtual workshops and that kind of stuff. So I thought I would incorporate that with my uni work in some sort of way. Now I look at kind of space and time and working in different areas, and then I usually document through film or photography, so hence why I'm recording today as well. And I kind of try and make it more of an activity or an experience. So that's kind of why I'm asking us for maybe to turn our audio on or something, just to create more of a nice like social community environment. And for me, it's more the activity of making the work rather than, the finished product, although they do look quite nice. But I think we'll get started. I've just got sponges, toothbrushes, palette knives, bath equipment. I've got some rubber gloves. I've got a wooden spoon, so I've got quite a few things with me. And I think we're just going to get started, and then just feel free to ask me any questions. That would be brilliant if that's okay. And yeah, we'll see where we go with it. Now, one book I have got that I really do like is a Jackson Pollock book. He is one of my favourite artists. In the first year, I looked at a lot of action painting and creating art on such a large scale. So yeah, that's kind of where we're going with this, and we'll see what happens. Let me know what you've got with you as well, because I'm going to start now, I think. So it would be quite good if you all could as well. That'd be brilliant. So the first half will be the workshop, and then we're going to meet again around about 3:30 for maybe a question and answer session where you can maybe ask me anything about the work, maybe let me know how you found this workshop. That'd be brilliant. Now, I was hoping to do this, actually in the fine art studio as well. I wasn't anticipating on doing it at home. So we've had a lot of changes in how I would do this workshop, but here we are. So yeah, just let me know how you're finding it, and just have fun with the materials, have fun with the paints that you're using, and just, yeah, give me any feedback you like, if that's okay. Hopefully we can turn it into maybe a discussion if everyone's up for that as well. Now, I think it's always nerve-wracking doing this at the start, because you don't know who's going to turn up, who's going to join, how it's going to go. But yeah, it's the second time doing this, so we'll see what happens.
I've got a throwaway wooden fork to start.
Oh, that's brilliant, yes. Anything to create a bit of texture, a few marks, that would be brilliant. I find it interesting as well, the noises that, the different objects make. Kind of challenging the conventions of making art, so just using really random objects and then giving them, say, a new language or a new purpose. I think that is quite fascinating as well. It's with a community group as well last week, and they really enjoyed it. Now they have like disabilities and everything, and they really enjoy, working with different colours, and it was brilliant.
What is it that you like about Jackson Pollock's?
I like the fact that he uses really improvised, really spontaneous movement. It's not necessarily planned. And I like the fact that he works on such a large scale as well. So he kind of channels his own emotions, and that kind of shows through the piece. So yeah, no, I do like his work. Mainly the scale for me. I like using large sheets of paper, working on like a big scale, and using different objects as well. Yeah, that really inspires me.
Did I hear you right that you were asking for us all to put on our audio or our
yeah, if possible video? Yeah, I was hoping it turned into a bit of a discussion. Maybe ask me anything you want about my work, maybe let me know what you're using as well, objects wise. And maybe how you're feeling about doing this. So for me, I'm not thinking too much about what I'm creating. I'm just making marks on the surface and kind of having a bit of fun with the activity. Because for me, it's more about the process of making art rather than the finished piece. Now, I found in my last workshop that people got a bit stuck when I said just make a mark. They were saying, well, what of? What shall I make? Has it got to be a picture? And I'm like, no, just just kind of go with it, if you see what I mean. So let the objects do the work. But it's a bit tricky to get into that mindset, but just be free with it. And it doesn't matter too much about what it looks like as well. Because I am quite fixated on the colours for some reason, and that is one of my lines of inquiry that I still don't understand, but it's just the vibrance of the colours and the abstract shapes that really, really inspire me.
Does your work...
I might consider... When you go, Liz?
I was just wondering if the work changes for you, Holly, depending on what mood you're in, or do you try to always enter it in a similar mood?
Oh, definitely. Usually I'm quite, positive when I'm doing it and everything, but say if I'm doing a piece in on my own, and I do a lot of pre-recorded pieces, and say it's not going to plan, the more and more times I repeat the activity, the more and more you can tell I'm getting frustrated with it. But no, I think the community kind of virtual workshops as well, that kind of, I think makes everyone happy, I hope. We've got Harry joining us as well. But yeah, that's really what it is for me as well. It's more the activity of making it, and I guess creating an experience for everyone, if you like.
What were you going to say, Fiona?
Fiona had a question before, didn't she?
Yeah, no, it wasn't a question, it was a comment. It's a very meditative way of working, quite a freeing way of working. Yeah. And I tend to call it, when I'm trying to describe to people who don't do art in any way, shape or form, just a bit like messy play for grown-ups.
Yeah. Oh yeah, definitely.
This fork's amazing. I've been looking at jellyfish a lot this week, and it's making me think a bit of
oh wow,
kind of either in the water or loads of tentacles, I don't know, but I never thought that this fork could do this.
Like I said before, this is part of the non-essential show, so anyone that hasn't been able to see the Instagram or the website yet, then have a look at it, because it's really good. And we've got 8 different artists working, all focusing on the theme of pandemics and working during lockdown. So we've got a really good range of different artwork, different styles, so if you've got a chance as well, have a look at that, please.
So have you done workshops that are in the studio with people, or have you been doing all the workshops online?
They've all been online, actually. A charity approached me at the start of lockdown, so around about May or June, and they said, "Oh, can you do a few, trial workshops just through the summer, just to see what happens and just get people kind of coming together and making art." So we started doing that, and they just said, "Oh, can you keep doing some more?" So it's turned into a regular thing. Each Friday, I'm running these different art activities. Not necessarily to do with the stuff that I'm doing at uni, but it's still quite good practice in recording and getting used to, I guess, showing and talking about my work. But yeah, so. And I also did a piece for the Lockdown Festival in summer, which showed a pre-recorded performance piece that I'd done, kind of a composition of different videos, and it was for the Lockdown Festival in raising money for the NHS and Oxfordshire Mind as well. and again using social media platforms like Twitch or Zoom to again showcase work. So at the moment, that's kind of what I'm focusing on, looking at different ways to present work and kind of how I can best show my work in different environments as well. Because obviously with lockdown, it's quite hard as well to make work, especially the kind of stuff that I've been looking at. I really do need a large space, hence why I've had to slightly change what I have planned today, because I had planned to do it in the studio and to use the whole of the back room, but that wasn't possible. I've just got some A2 and A1 card as well that I'm using. Giant rolls of like lino print paper are quite good as well. I've got a 10-meter roll that in the studio that I've been using as well. And last year I focused a lot on using different fabrics as well. So any material and any object really are great for this activity. Oh, thank you very much, Harry, for the comment. Just seeing it in that area. That's brilliant. Thank you. So feel free to do as much or as little as you want as well. This is going to go on for another hour, I think. At first, I did plan to do half workshop and half performance, but I think we're just going to go through until 2:30. Have a bit of a break, and then anyone that wants to come back and ask me any questions about my work or anything, then that is brilliant. And maybe any feedback that you've got from the workshop, how you found it, and everything.
If you were going to do any online or physical body sort of related performance ones, could you imagine how you could do that, or would you have to wait for a bigger space, do you think?
I have done a few. They haven't been live, but they've been recorded pieces either in the bathroom, where I've taken the piece by Janine Antoni, the Loving Care piece, and used my hair as like a creative tool. And I've also taken Matthew Barney as inspiration for creating like a drawing restraint piece, where I've created a giant kind of paintbrush using bamboo sticks taped together and actually drawn on the ceiling. But that again was a recorded piece, so if you would like to have a look, then I can always send you a copy, Liz.
Yeah, no, it'd be nice to.
I mean, in summer I've done a lot of work outdoors as well, taking inspiration from David Hammond and using different spherical objects to create work. Now, I have a passion for sport as well, so that is one of the reasons why I quite like this activity. It's quite free and it allows me to kind of use the physical body while creating work. So again, it's something that I do like doing. I mean, one of my inquiries last year was the idea of a performance being choreographed, and to what extent are you improvising those movements? Does it have to be planned for you to kind of know what to do, or do you just go in and go with the flow? And how does that work, and how do you feel about it? So again, lots of different things to think about really as well.
Do you find that what you make in those more performances is quite different to when sitting down making?
Yes, because when you're using things like paintbrushes and sponges, to an extent you can kind of plan what those marks are going to look like on the page, and it feels slightly more controlled. Whereas when you're using the body and painting with your elbows and everything and your feet, you don't quite know how it's going to look. I do a lot of work where I'm like putting charcoal between my toes and everything, and trying to kind of balance my body and the weight, as well as drawing, but not drawing what you would assume. But yeah, I think it's a lot more controlled when I'm doing these workshops, just because of the limited objects, I guess, that I'm using. Where if I was to use the body, then for sure, I think they would look very different, and it would feel a bit more free as well, because it wouldn't feel like I was controlling those objects and the way they're going to look on the surface too much.
Could be a new style of interior design.
Oh yeah, definitely. So has anyone got a favourite artist then? I'm interested to know, has anyone got a favourite artist, who and why?
Ed and Ollie have moved to Burley, so
Oh,
he's just got in touch about
meeting
dog
up.
walking advice and meeting up.
Oh,
Amazing, yeah. Messing me back in a bit, but yeah, he's just said, "Hello, how are you? How's Hal getting on? I wondered if I could ask for some advice about Leeds. We've just moved back to Burley. I think it's around the corner from you, and we want to find a suitable place where we can let Nix off her lead for a good run. Do you have any suggestions? Also, any nice walks in general would be great. Hopefully we can arrange a meet-up off the pub soon." That's all good.
that's really exciting. It'd be really fun for him to meet up with Nix.
Hi.
Oh, are you on a Zoom?
Well, it's a work. No.
How's it going, Abby? How's yours doing? Are you okay?
Good. I've just found like packaging that we never threw away.
Oh
I
yeah.
don't really know what this is, but I'm painting it.
At first I thought it was like an egg box or something.
It like opens and closes. I can't remember what was in it.
Oh, very good.
And then I did a bit of collage, and I just stuck a load of like,
Oh, that's cool.
you know, like the magazines you get with like for farm foods.
Oh yeah.
I just stuck them all together on this piece of cardboard and drew around them, and yeah.
At the moment I'm using my nail brush and it's making some really interesting marks actually.
I didn't come from, basically I've got like nothing really that I can, I'm just using paintbrushes, but it's making some interesting marks. I'm using the magazine that I used for this as my paint palette, which is creating some cool marks as well. So.
I mean, I actually struggled to find objects before because all of mine are actually in the studio because I was planning on doing this in kind of the big area, possibly in the centre, and having like a max like 15 people there. I wasn't really anticipating to do it. I was actually going to cancel it at first and postpone it until later on. And then when the interim show came about, I thought, oh, I might as well incorporate it with that somehow. Kind of
Yeah.
represents the theme of, you know, working during lockdown, which is kind of what I've been looking at a lot.
The thing is with kind of postponing it, like you just don't know when things are going to be open again, do you? So
Yeah, definitely. And this is going to be recorded as well, so if people do want to have a look or anything, then they can do. But I always think it's quite interesting, the idea of viewing something live and then viewing a pre-recorded, or kind of the idea that the event's already happened and what it means to watch the object of the performance. So the object will be the film or any documentation that would kind of represent the performance in a way, or the event or the happening. For me, it's more about the objects and the marks and the textures that the objects make. But I do feel very much in control, which I wouldn't get when I was doing performances in the studio. I wouldn't normally feel that element of control, because you can't really determine what the marks are going to look like, you know, depending on, you know, how much paint you put on your body, how is that going to look, and how is that going to determine what the final outcome looks like. Whereas the objects, they've got specific shapes and specific textures, so to an extent you can.
If one of the students is doing like a performance-y thing, but it's more like a sort of workshop-y thing.
So
But-
is it live?
Yeah, I've just joined to see what's happening. I'm not part of, they're like sort of making stuff and doing things, but
Holly, I guess when you're like doing your live performances as well, like your outcomes are different every time.
Definitely, yeah,
Like,
definitely.
you've got like different stuff going on.
Yeah. To an extent, the only thing that I can really plan when I'm doing those is kind of setting myself limitations, in the sense that I'm saying I'm going to use this amount of objects, I'm going to use this type of medium, I'm going to work on this scale in this area. But then after that, I can't determine what the piece is going to look like. And I think that's the interesting part about focusing on the process or the activity of it.
Yeah, and like drawing with charcoal in your toes, like that is so hard to control.
Oh, definitely, yeah.
I can't even draw left-handed.
Messy.
I've had this silver and gold paint for ages that mainly the kids use, but I'm going to have a go with this today. Bit of an opportunity to try it out without worrying what it'll do. It's warm in here. There you go.
So then I don't talk. So then I can't.
I can turn the sound off. I can't hear you.
sorting out the meeting minutes because it said for some reason it popped up and said, "Oh, you've only got 6 minutes left until it times out." we're okay, don't worry. How's everyone getting on then? How many pieces have we all made so far?
I'm just still playing about with one. I've been doing quite a little bit of personal journaling through art, so I'm finding it difficult to let that go. But I think I have a little bit, but I'm still kind of at the same time, abstract. Yeah, it's fun.
How does everyone feel like when they're creating, these abstract shapes and different marks? How do we all feel? Do we feel quite free and expressive with it, or are we quite cautious what we're making? Fiona's nodding her head.
Yeah, so I initially was very free, and then started kind of fiddling about with detail, which is less free and much more kind of thought out. So yeah, and I think I've just about reached the point with this sheet that I have in front of me where I need to kind of let it go and let it sit for a bit. So I like the marks that you're making, and they're just the scale is incredible. It's just brilliant.
Oh,
yeah.
I really like the nail brush though, the effect that it's created down here. So I think that is something that I'm going to use again.
It reminds me of a seahorse. When you showed it up, it looks like a seahorse.
It's quite interesting when you make something and then you look at it after you've made it, and then you're thinking, what's that about? Or why is that colour with that colour? Why does it look like this? What could it mean as well? So it kind of gets you thinking and reflecting on what you're making, why you're doing it. And often enough, I'm just thinking, I enjoyed it. I had fun in that moment, and it was more about the activity and having fun with the materials. So I tend not to give a definite answer because, again, it does change depending on, like Liz said, what mood you're in. I don't know what day it is, what objects you're using as well. Maybe there's some objects that you feel more comfortable using than others as well. And then does that determine how you are with them and how you react to it? Oh, Rochelle saying Maisie's using her hands. Well, a bit of finger painting. That sounds good. I know you guys joined in the last workshop that I did as well, which was great.
I think doing it, you start to build up almost like a set of tools that you like using that you take into next workshop.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I've always got those kind of go-to objects, and they tend to be quite different, so I get different visual effects with them. But often enough, it's normally just whatever I can find. I tend to do a lot of stuff with like recycled materials as well, so I've been focusing a lot on the use of cardboard and things like that in my community sessions. And it doesn't have a direct impact on what I'm doing now. However, it's just different materials that you can use to make art, and the idea that you can be creative with anything that's around you as well, which is brilliant.
Holly, there's other workshops you do for the community ones.
Ah.
Who are they for? And is it for a specific group that they've already kind of agreed? If that makes sense.
So the workshops initially were for a charity called Unique Kids. About an hour or so away from me in Morecambe. But they do get broadcast on my art Facebook Live. So they are specific activities for that group. However, I do encourage anyone to really join in and have a go. Specifically, people that are at home or people that have got and I am working towards doing more things for YouTube, so some more drawing or craft tutorials. And again, just building more of a I guess, an archive of things that people can have a look at and do. I like the idea of it being quite interactive in the sense that I'm making work, people are making it at home in different spaces, which is why I find this quite interesting. We're all doing the same thing and kind of coming together using technology, but working in different areas. So we're quite isolated, but it feels like we're one community while we're in this kind of space, which I think is interesting. But yeah, no, to answer your question, the workshops are really for anybody. Anyone can join and have a go. So that's it.
Well, I was just asking because my uncle has Down syndrome, and he's driving my grandma mental, and he loves to create, and my grandma's a painter, so she has loads of like stuff for him to do, but I think it's starting to get quite she's starting to feel it now, so I was just wondering whether would he be able to join you if you're interested in it?
One of the members in the group that joins, and she's a regular each week, and she does have Down syndrome as well, and she really enjoys different materials and bright colours. So he's more than welcome to join.
Oh, great! I'll let them know. I don't know if they will join, but I'll let them. So when is it then?
Every Friday, 10 till 11.
In the morning, yeah. 10 at night. Okay. And is that on Zoom?
It's on Facebook Live, actually, so it's quite
okay.
cool because anyone can really access it. The only reason I've decided to do this workshop on Zoom is the quality is a lot better. I'm able to record this session, and it's kind of helping me with what I'm doing because I can play the recording back and play our discussions back. And then I get to use that to continually like develop my work. So that's the only reason I'm using Zoom now. It's just purely for the quality of it.
Yeah.
I often think as well when I'm creating art at home in, a domestic area with all these pristine white walls, I often feel cautious about the gestures that I'm making. So in the sense, I feel a lot more controlled of what I'm doing at home in comparison to working in the studio. Mainly because the studio is a place where everyone can come together, and it's an art studio, it's meant to be messy, but you don't often associate, your homes or your domestic spaces as being kind of the same thing. So I often feel really cautious with the speed that I'm applying, the medium to the paper, as well as the gestures and the scale of my movements. I often feel cautious of that, purely because I'm working at home as well. So that's another interesting thing to think about. How do we react with these objects and with these materials in these spaces? Change our relationship is with objects as well.
Well, it reminds me of having little kids and wanting to them express themselves, but not have a whole room to clean up and repaint after. So you do a weird thing, trying to give them freedom, but also going, so I don't know how healthy that is as a expressive environment.
I suppose to an extent these restrictions and limitations that we're setting ourselves with this idea of space kind of links well to restrictions and the limitations we're living through now due to lockdown. I think it's quite reflective of this, the fact that we're all making work in different areas because we're not able to come together. I think that's quite interesting, finding new ways to continuously make our work, new ways to kind of show our stuff without necessarily needing a physical space. I think that's quite interesting. And it's quite challenging sometimes as well.
Yeah, it is, yeah. Also, I have done some workshops in my kids' schools, and sometimes the teachers just look horrified at what's going to happen.
I think with this stuff as well, these like performative acts, because we're all performing really now in our own space. We're all performing with these objects. I think it kind of creates an element of suspense because you're intrigued and you want to find out more, and you don't understand why you're using these objects, and the audience doesn't understand why you're using these objects in such a manner. You know, a wooden spoon is meant for the kitchen. It's not meant for making art. Again, challenging the expectations and associations that we have with these. And I guess giving them a new meaning as well, which I find quite interesting. But yeah. And again, obviously, different objects have different associations with, I guess, masculine and feminine kind of views as well. I have been looking a lot at feminism and the idea of using the body to create art, hence why the title of the performance or the workshop was Gender and Performance, I guess, looking at different objects and the meaning of these objects. And again, the application of the medium to the paper. I've looked a lot at Heather Hansen, and she creates these giant, large-scale drawings, beautifully done, really synchronized in her movements as well, and they're really symmetrical as well. They look absolutely brilliant. And then comparing that with Jackson Pollock, where he's using really abstract, really big gestures to create his work, I think it's quite interesting. The idea of our attitude towards applying the medium to the paper as well. Are we being quite dainty with it, or are we kind of just going for it and not really caring too much about what we're making as well? I think everyone's approaches is quite interesting, I guess, how we're reacting with these materials. And again, something to think about when we're, I guess, creating our own work as well, because obviously I know a lot of you create very different pieces of work, which again is brilliant about this interim show, because we're all showing work, different things completely, focusing on the same theme, but having different approaches to it and different interests. And that's what I think is quite interesting about this. Got a lot of like kids brushes and stuff that I've been using from my workshop, and we've got sponges and everything here, so anything really that you can find to make a mark. I'm into drip painting as well, so I tend to use, you know, washing liquid bottles that are empty, fill them with, you know, paint and water, and create these pieces with it as well. Although not using the body, but still creating visual marks and still experimenting with these materials on the paper. Has anyone found themselves using really bright colours as well? I always seem drawn to different colour combinations as well. But I don't know about anyone else.
I have.
I'm using that semi-transparent gold and silver paint mixed together.
Oh, very good.
I've realised that what I can do with this is that you can make whole areas of texture that I can then paint on top of after, so that which is what I've been looking for in some of my painting and collage.
Oh, brilliant.
And I'm still painting jellyfish, I'm afraid.
I think I mentioned before as well, has anyone got a favourite artist or a favourite designer that they're inspired by?
I'll show you mine. So, I bought this book. This was my lockdown purchase this last summer, and it's by a surrealist artist called Ithell Colquhoun, who maybe died in the late 90s, maybe. So she would love this because she's really about that automatic process and painting. But it's supposed to be like tarot cards, but they're like these just amazing colours.
Oh, wow.
And then which they're called enamel, so I don't know if they're enamel paint, and each one is meant to represent some tarot card, something or other, like that. I just like looking at that.
I guess you're drawn to it, aren't you, as well? Different colours that you see on a page, you're drawn to certain elements of it as well.
Yeah, and it is there. When you buy it, you can choose the cover you have, and I think it is air, fire, water. Yeah, but yeah, there's definitely something with colour and just enjoying looking at colour. Oh, brilliant! I'm going to eat my lunch now. Sorry.
I think his name's Christian Moir-Clay. He did the clocks work. Basically like a 24-hour piece that's like to time. It shows loads of clips from films where they actually show you that exact time in the film, or like someone looking at their clock or their watch, and it's like that exact time, and then you could like go to the museum at like 5 a.m. and watch all the clips of like the films at like 5 a.m. And I quite like that because I'm doing my work for uni. I am looking at time, so I thought that was quite interesting.
Is it more of like an endurance kind of thing, or what, does he ever document like how he feels when he's making these work?
No, it's like it's like a film that you go watch, where it's like a compilation of all these clips from different films. So it's not just him though. I think it was a massive team that did it.
Okay.
I knew like the force behind it, I think. But yeah, it's quite interesting to watch actually. But yeah, what about you? Have you got a favorite artist or?
I've been looking at quite a few. I have one, but he doesn't necessarily link to performance using the body kind of thing. It doesn't necessarily do that. However, his work is really, really relaxing to look at. He's called Ian Davenport. Now he makes all these drip paintings. He does loads of murals on a really, really large scale. I think I've got a book actually here. I'll just get it.
Are they really colourful?
Oh yeah. It's a lot of fluid art. Yeah, Thames and Hudson. So that's one of his pieces on the front of this book here.
That's cool.
So again, using gravity to kind of bring the paint down the canvas. So he pours it on the top, and then he lets it drip, and he records these drips as it's kind of changing state. He always says that he'll like do the act, so obviously I guess applying the medium to the canvas, and then he'll then record it slowly changing over time. and the idea of changing state and him not being in control of what the art then looks like is something that he is interested in.
So that does relate to what you're doing quite a lot, though, in the sense that
To an extent, yeah, for sure.
yeah.
Here is another page as well.
Oh, I feel like I might have seen those before. I recognise them.
Yeah, I've seen it at the Venice Biennale. He did an exhibition, it was 2017. At the time, I actually had a photo in front of it because the bright colours just stood out to me, and I was like, I really, really like this. I didn't actually know it was an artwork. I thought it was just a piece of art outside, nothing to do with it, directly to the exhibition. And I didn't know who made it. And then a few years later, when I started uni and when I was looking at like performance art and colour and everything, he was the artist that I looked at last year. And I was like, I recognise that. And then
That's so weird.
at the time, I didn't know.
That is weird, actually.
Oh, thank you very much, Liz, as well, and Rochelle for the comments in the chat box as well. Yeah, I think different painting techniques and everything are quite specific to each person as well. So I guess the attitude between the paint and the objects and then the relationship with the person is quite interesting as well, because people react in different ways. No worries. No, I had mine early today before I came on. But again, I think in terms of the art being different every time, to an extent it is, because even if I'm doing work like this and due to these uncertain times, we're not sure when we'll be back at uni, when we'll be back in the normal or the norm kind of space that we would work in. I guess using these different utensils and different instruments can determine how the art changes by introducing new things to make art and thinking of new objects to use to create these marks as well.
Do you have any ideas of what you might want to do after uni?
I have actually been thinking about teaching, I do.
Oh, yeah.
I like the idea of art being, like I said before, an activity and kind of making art and having a conversation as well. Like, I like stuff like this where I'm talking about my work, creating a social environment and making stuff. That's kind of why I like these live sessions and these recorded pieces. I like the idea of kind of bringing people together and making art more of a social activity. So yeah, I was thinking maybe teaching and then possibly, a few community workshops on the side, but
yeah,
it's a lot to think about.
I mean, it's a while away. Yeah, it's
yeah, we've got how many terms? Like 4 or 5 terms until we graduate. It's crazy as well. It's crazy to think about that, because after each year we'll be talking about level 6 in the final year and what we want to do, and it's like I don't know, I just like making work, but I don't necessarily know for definite what I want to do. And I think the idea of it being uncertain in this time is quite reflective of what I'm doing when I'm performing in the studio, I guess. The movements and the marks are uncertain and they're improvised and they're spontaneous, and you can't guarantee what they're going to look like, and that's the exciting part about it, I think. I like it being social, it helps. Free enough. Yeah, definitely. I think it's good that we can all come together on one platform and make work and create an environment. Although it is a flat screen and we're performing over a flat screen, I guess to an extent you can argue that that changes the relationship of performance, because we're all in our individual environments and we're connected by a webcam to an extent. But I suppose it's quite good because we can all come together. I think it's more of an emotional value as well for anything else, like the idea of making art and being happy when you make it and being quite positive. I think that's why a lot of people like the workshops on a Friday that I'm doing. I get a lot of feedback saying that they've really enjoyed it, it's made them happy, it's made them smile, and I suppose to an extent that's all you want from art. You want a reaction from the audience, you want people to feel good about it or to be interested in it, and I guess that is exciting for a lot of people.
I've just been using the top of this beer bottle that I have as like a stamp
Oh, very good.
on
If
top
you
of.
you could roll it or something like a rolling pin and see what marks you can make.
I would roll it if I had more space and if I had a layer of something. If I had, I'm just worried about getting paint everywhere.
Yeah, it's quite hard. At first, when we went into lockdown, I was thinking, how am I going to do what I normally do in the studio at home? To what extent am I going to have to, I guess, compromise what I'm doing to make it kind of able to do? Like, how am I going to have to change my practice? And I think, in a way, I think what I've learned is the idea of using more social platforms, doing more live performances, because I think performance really is about it being live, the liveness being direct, and I guess the energy within that moment. So people say if they're watching this recording back, they'll feel something different because I guess they're watching it from an outsider. They weren't fully there in the moment. So again, how does that affect you if you're watching something that's being recorded, that's either happened, so the event will have happened, and how does that feel to you? Oh, thank you very much, Liz. That's fine. Just got your comment in the chat. Thank you very much. Yeah, we'll be back around 3:30 or so. I mean, we're going to finish in about 20 minutes or so anyway, but
Okay.
yeah, 3:30, and then we'll have a bit of a chat, maybe show what we've made. That would be quite cool.
Is that on the same link?
Yes, yeah, it should be the same meeting ID, the same password. Nothing
Okay.
changed apart from just on my side, but yeah, no, it should be okay. That's brilliant.
All right. Thanks, Holly.
Thank you very much. See you later.
Bye.
Bye bye. I feel like I'm making a lot of noise as well when I'm making these marks on here. I think if you look at the performance and you look at the video, I often find that not looking at the performance and just listening to the sounds is quite interesting as well. Oh yeah, Rochelle, I like the noise. Oh, thank you very much. If you are able to turn your camera on maybe the next 10-15 minutes, then that's cool. But if not, then that's okay. I hope you're amazed, you're enjoying making at home, because I know that you enjoyed my workshop on Friday. So
I've also found that I'm getting marks on my hand, which is kind of cool.
Oh yeah, definitely.
But yeah, you just end up like getting marks everywhere, and then you're like, oh, and then like even in my sink when I've just been washing my paintbrushes, like the marks that it's left.
And another good thing about thinking about this is the film and the photography is the object of the performance. However, this is the documentation too. It's kind of capturing the event or the happening in a very unconventional way. And maybe how would you document that as well? Oh, no worries. I'll see if I can try and do it on my side. Not too sure. There should be a little camera box that should appear slide the show. Don't worry if not though, because we will start a new meeting at 3:30, and then you'll have the chance to then show me what you've made then. How are you getting on, Fiona? Are you okay with?
Yeah, I'm good. I started another piece and it's much more free flowing and much more energetic than the last one. So, and I used brighter hotter colours. My first piece was very contained within a cold palette, whereas this one's got much more of a warm palette to it.
I think another thing.
I got paint everywhere, Holly. I've got paint in my hair, and I've got paint on my chair, and I've got paint in the bathroom, and I've got paint everywhere.
I mean, I've got a few palettes out, but I've still managed to get it all over the table. I don't know how. I mean, my computer is just sprayed with little droplets of paint.
Yeah, it's all on my iPad screen because I used a brush at one point, and but I was much more involved in the techniques and the things. I pulled apart a leftover Christmas decoration and used the kind of ball of that to create a kind of nice bubbly effect, and I used some plastic bubble wrap which I painted and pressed down, and yeah, really good. Again, I'm envious of the size of paper that you're working on, because I was working on quite a big size in A, but the biggest size, and then I'm because of lockdown, I'm running out of art materials. And I've just realized that like a load of my acrylics are virtually empty, and I'm like, I've actually got another couple of workshops that I need to kind of save a bit of paper for. So I'm also going to have to do online shop somewhere along the line, because obviously nothing's open for gathering materials at the moment.
I mean, during lockdown, I've had so many Amazon orders, so many things coming from my workshops. But I usually get a lot of my ready mix paint from a company called Baker Ross.
Yes, of course. Gosh, I haven't touched on Baker Ross for a few years actually. Yeah, I used to use them quite a lot.
So 6 bottles, 600 millilitres for £9. So you get your
It's all right.
your green, your white, your black. So yeah, £9, and that's not including delivery. But I managed to get my order for about £11, £12. So.
But do Baker Ross not do free delivery over a certain amount of money? As they used to. Maybe they don't anymore. Maybe not. Maybe they don't in this time.
I think it's over £20, and then you should get some free delivery. And they do quite a lot of things, like really good art materials for drawing, for community workshops. And again, I think they're quite affordable. I feel like Amazon sometimes is quite pricey. I tend to get a lot of my A1, A2 card from Amazon, and you get a few sheets, but quite expensive. But I suppose if you're in lockdown and you can't go anywhere and nothing's open.
And I like going to my local art stores and just browsing about and choosing materials from that perspective. So, but it's good that we can still get deliveries.
Yeah. Cat Arts do a student discount, so I think Abby, you'll know that. And they've got some quite good art things as well. They've got quite a good range as well, and they've got an online store. So I know a few of my art friends do use that as well. But I've only ever had one order from there. But I tend not to go for it. But maybe I should have a look.
Expensive though, isn't it? That's the only thing that stopped me, because I love going there and just looking at everything there. Money, I'm like, I can't. not when the works exists.
No, it's quite pricey, I think. But
yeah.
I think they do have some quality stuff, but
yeah, there's some good stuff. I have bought some stuff from there before, and it's genuinely great. But as a student, you do tend to think, well, maybe I shouldn't.
Yeah, definitely.
And if you can get it in the works, the same thing in the works for half price, why wouldn't you really? I mean, that's just madness otherwise.
Yeah, although I have found the white acrylic. In fact, I've got some here. They like this stuff.
I've got. Is
It's
it
good.
black? Yeah.
Yeah, that's I'm using Crawford and Black. I've got some Amsterdam ones. Yeah, but but and some graduate ones as well.
I've got some ones that my grandma gave me. Half of them were empty. It was so funny. I had to like clear it up. She just gave me like almost all of her art supplies. But I've got like, it's called Basics, or yeah. I think this System 3, that's, you can get that at the Works as well, I think, right?
Mm-hmm.
To go for the bright colours as well. There's something about colour and the language and the meaning of colour that inspires me. But again, that is an ongoing investigation to how that can link to my work. Now, I found a lot of people in these community workshops have been drawn to the colour and kind of like their disabilities as well, and they've been drawn to these abstract shapes. And a lot of children and young adults kind of partake in these workshops as well. So that is something that I am looking at, the idea of colour and what it means to create, and the fact that children seem more, you know, free. They see materials and they want to make everything. I know Rochelle and Maisie, you'll be finding that now, I should imagine. Adults, I always find sometimes they're thinking, oh, they're a bit cautious about what they're making, or is it good enough? And they've got all these external things going on. And I think you just need to kind of let go and kind of just be in that moment and just focus on having fun with art and having fun with these materials and getting excited about what you can make and how it's going to look. Although that is not the full aim for me, but yeah. I know a few of you will be thinking about this and thinking maybe when you're doing your work or your practice on your own, how you're feeling about it, or how you're applying these marks. I think the idea of mark making and performance art, kind of looking at the idea of how you're applying this medium to the paper and in what way. So again, like Liz mentioned, painting techniques as well. So that's something to think about. I might have time to make about two more, I think. I'm just looking at the time. But again, I don't really mind. I mean, we can go over 2:30, but I just need a bit of time just to pack up, and then we'll come back around 3:30 just to chat about what we've done and everything. Yeah, I think we recycle materials, like I mentioned before. It's quite exciting, quite fun to do. You know, using serial packaging, you know, representing a domestic space, and the idea of artists finding new things to make work from is again quite interesting as well. So maybe thinking about
lockdown.
Yeah, definitely. I think it kind of reflects, you know, where we are right now and how we're working and what we're doing really. And it kind of gives it a bit of added meaning to it as well. Because especially last year, I was kind of focusing on all this kind of movement and controlling the body and the colour. And I was thinking, but what does it mean? And I was chasing this idea of what does my work mean? I'm doing this and I'm enjoying it, but I don't know what it means. But I think maybe it's okay to not know. So again, that's maybe something to think about as well, because I was always really cautious when I was making art. Oh, it's not good enough. Oh, I don't like it. Oh, I'm just going to throw it away. But it's all documentation leading up to something again. So it's in kind of documenting that process or that activity that you're going through while you're making the work. And that is quite interesting. Yeah, the work.
I've just thought that this piece that I'm working on, which I thought was finished, I've just decided to add a little bit more. And then I've also thought that I have some black sand that I would quite like to also fill some of the gaps with this black sand that I picked up a few years ago. And I can't right now think where I stored that in the safe place. I'll need to look that out.
How did you find out about the workshop, Fiona? Was it through Eventbrite?
It was through Eventbrite, yes. I made myself a New Year's resolution, Holly, to to get online and to connect with people and do art, you know, create art with people, because I was really, really missing that. And I'd really resisted going online. And as I say, I made a New Year's resolution to myself to do that very thing. And oh my gosh, it's transformed my January, let me tell you. I'm a hugely happier person than I was at the beginning of January. So that's how I found out about it. I browsed Eventbrite, and you came up there. So yeah. And it's been delightful. I didn't appreciate that, you know, you were an art student and that's still studying, and that's been absolutely lovely to kind of listen to that. So
right, I've just popped my Instagram. Do you have Instagram, Fiona?
I'm not on Instagram. I'm not on Facebook. I'm a bit of a Luddite.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. I was going to say we've got another performance from one of our group members later today. Now, you know how I mentioned about the non-essential show, so the group show that we're doing at uni this week? Well, obviously I'm the first one that's doing a live thing, but one of my friends is also doing something later today. He does a lot of stuff with video, and he's using like a green screen and all that kind of stuff, and he's actually raising money for a charity as well. So if I pop his link, then maybe you could pop that.
Yeah, that would be brilliant. And you know what, I could send you my email, and if you wanted to email me information, Holly, that would be brilliant as well.
Oh, well, do you want to pop your email in the chat then I can send you his info as well? That'd be brilliant.
I shall do that.
The workshops that I do on a Friday are using Facebook. However, there will be a few more Zoom sessions, and I can sure keep you posted when they do happen as well. Because I do want to do a lot more stuff like this, you know, working on a kind of social platform, live, seeing everyone else making stuff, creating like this, and kind of continually develop that and see where it goes. So yeah, that would be brilliant. If you pop your email in, then I think the chat will automatically save as well when I stop recording, and it'll save.
Okay, so I've sent you my email.
Oh, that's brilliant. Thank you very much.
And I would love to join you on a Fridays, but Fridays is the only day of the week when I actually have something to do. It's my favourite day of the week.
Yeah, I think we're all kind of getting a bit stuck for things to do, and I think this kind of puts you in a good mood, I guess. Joining social kind of groups and making art with different people, because I'm sure there's a lot of other artists doing a similar thing to me. I mean, I know my community kind of friends that I do a lot of projects out of uni with, I know a lot of those people are also doing these virtual sessions with select community groups and select kind of organizations. But yeah,
and sometimes you have to protect your community group and not open it out to other people. I mean, my experience so far has been absolutely delightful with the sort of 3, 4, 5 connections that I've made. But I can see that you would also perhaps need to protect people a little bit if they were used to a small contained group where they were able to talk about, you know, personal things that in a safe space. So yeah.
I had to actually get permission from the group that I work with to offer these workshops out. Obviously, with it being on Facebook Live, though, it's not like this. They actually see me work, but then they're not visible on the camera, so other people can't see them. It's just a tutorial focusing on me. I think that's why they wanted to do it on Facebook rather than using Zoom, because it kind of protects them behind the screen and they can just watch me do it.
Yeah.
I make it interactive by saying, oh, you can use the comment section, and then they'll send some things in, and then I can say, oh, thank you very much to so-and-so for doing this. Oh, that's brilliant. Just to kind of keep it going. And then I make it interactive by turning it into kind of a mail art style project. Either they'll send work in that they've done, or they'll send me some photographs or some films and just send them in. And again, it's quite nice just to see photos of what people have made. And often they're all, you know, they're smiling and they've all had a good time, and they're all sending me comments in, which is again, I guess the idea of creating an experience or something, getting something from that event. So it's not really just creating art, it's kind of much more than that in a way.
Yeah, it's quite an emotional connection then, isn't it, when you do it with people and you're able to kind of communicate with people. Yeah.
I mean, the first time I did it, I was admittedly quite nervous. It took me a few times to kind of get into it, because it wasn't something that I was used to doing. I'd always do my performances on my own or with a friend, and they'd video it. It wouldn't be a live thing, it would just be myself in my comfort zone. So I wasn't really pushing myself, I was just used to that, and it felt quite contained. So I thought, what is the next stage? And obviously now that there's lockdown, I've had to do a lot of things using technology. So I guess, how do you present your work? And obviously the live tutorial kind of idea was the next stage for me personally.
And it's quite a different thing between videoing your performance with that ability to edit and to withdraw something that you didn't like or whatever, to just kind of being right out there and literally live performance. By the way, you're a natural teacher. You've got a really lovely way with yourself, and you come across with every bit of confidence. So any nervousness, Holly, was not obvious to the naked eye.
I mean, it is a bit daunting doing these live things, but I guess people are there because they want to make art and they want to have fun. And I think for me, it was hard at first. I was thinking, what was if something goes wrong? Or if it's live, I can't cut something out like you mentioned before. I can't edit out the bad bits. It's just there, people can see, and you feel a bit exposed doing it, but I think you get used to it. And yeah, no, it's a lot of fun. I do enjoy it.
Well, I have to go, so I'm going to say thank you very, very much. And I could just show you briefly what I managed.
Yeah, that's brilliant. Oh, I like it.
I'm really pleased with this. There's lots of different uses of different things in it.
Really good.
It reminds me, yeah, I'm going to say what it reminds me of actually. And I'll show you my first piece, which was much more contained. And it's kind of a bit what I see out of my window.
Oh, wow.
And there's
yeah,
trees,
nature.
and there's cranes, and there's lots of sky and birds, and they're all in there.
That's quite interesting because you're using like figurative marks, but you're creating these marks with different objects. That's really interesting. That's great.
Yeah.
Thank
you.
For the live question and answer session in about an hour. Don't worry if you can't though. That's
I've got I'm kind of committed in the next hour or so. So I'm sorry that I can't join you back later. But it's been absolutely brilliant. Thank you, and nice to meet others.
If I put my email in the chat, would you be able to send me those photographs?
Yes, of course.
They look brilliant. There we are.
Except I've got nothing to write anything down with. That's a lie. I've got 100 things here. Come on. Okay.
I think it's quite good to, with art, kind of, if you're doing this kind of thing, make connections and view different works. I think for me, I always try and keep an open mind. I always like to look at different art styles, and I'm always intrigued by other people's work, even if I don't fully understand it or it's not my go-to kind of thing. I always like to explore and experiment with different things, which is good.
I do too. The art groups that I go to, or the art groups that I go to in the days when you could actually go to groups, are both, I'm no spring chicken, Holly, but I'm one of the youngest ones in the group. So it's much more elderly people that go to them, and they're absolutely gorgeous, and I love the groups, but they're all very sort of pastel-y and sort of watercolory, and they're all sort of very like scenes of hills and cats and dogs and horses and what have you, and this kind of abstract energy sort of sort of more wilder stuff is not seen very often, so it's an absolute pleasure.
Thank you very much for joining us as well. That's brilliant.
Right, I'm going to go now, and thanks a lot. I've got your email. I'll send you the photos.
Thank you very much. See you later, Fiona. I think that went well.
Yeah. Did she kind of turned up from Eventbrite then? You didn't invite her or anything?
No, well, what I actually did, I mean, I wasn't advertising that because when I realised, I couldn't do it in the studio, I thought, oh, I'll just use Zoom and I'll put it on Cage or Teams or whatever and just keep it open to people and see what happens. And I put a few posters up on uni as well. And then Julia suggested making an Eventbrite. So I did. And I could see people like signing up, and that must be where the other people came from. And yeah, I put it on there, and it's free to do as well. It's really good. You can just put your own links, your own description, your own banner. So if you've got any events or any live things that you want to do, then that's quite good. I was telling Danny about it actually yesterday because he was saying he's quite nervous about his performance later today, and I was like, same to be honest, but I guess
I'm excited for it though. I'm excited to watch it.
What I'm going to do, I think, is do a bit of, branding things. Obviously, I know he's wanting some donations for it. So hopefully a lot more people turn up than to mine because, obviously they're just watching him. Whereas for me, I wasn't too bothered. I just want, a few people just to come and just to keep it quite open and, see what happens. But I suppose with him asking for donations, we really want quite a few people, so I'm just going to try and post it and share it. So
I'll share some stuff as well. If I see you post it, I'll share it as well, and then hopefully
then you can like repost it or whatever.
Yeah, I'll see what I can do. But yeah, I'm excited to see his artwork. So
thank you very much, Rochelle, as well. Glad that you and Maisie enjoyed it. If you can, could you both send me some photographs? Is that okay? Like maybe on Messenger or something? I don't know, is that okay for you, Abby?
Possibly? Oh yeah, I'll send you them on WhatsApp or something.
That's brilliant, thank you very much. Well, if you're okay, do you guys want to come back in about an hour or so? I said 3:30 that I'd start it. I put 3:30 till 4:30. I don't know how long it's really going to last for. It might not even last 20 30 minutes or so, but again, keep it open. But I'm going to pack up now, I think, and then start in about an hour, and then we can have a bit of a discussion and I guess talk more about what you've made, maybe show us what you've made, that kind of stuff. That'd be brilliant.
Well, I can't make your 3:30 one.
Oh, that's
but are you going to Danny's thing? I'm assuming.
I am. Yeah, I'm gonna do it.
Oh, is it like an interactive thing, or is it like we kind of watch?
I don't know. I mean, I got the impression because I was doing a lot of the posting for the website, and he was sending me things because he obviously decided to offer a donate link, so I had to then change it all at the last minute and everything. I gathered that he's wanting people to donate, and it's just a viewing, so it's like an interactive viewing in the sense that I think he wants us all to have our cameras on, so we're watching him and he's performing, so similar to what I'm doing. However, the audience is sat watching him, so the audience is just watching his screen rather than doing what I was doing, where we're all kind of making different things. And then I think I need to remember as well because I need to donate to him because I haven't done that yet, but I'm gonna start it and see. Do we have up until his performance to donate, or is it during the He didn't really make that clear, but I think it's just an ongoing thing. But I might try and do it beforehand, and then he's got something to mention at the start.
I'll do that as well. I do want to donate, but I just thought I'd do it. I don't know why. I just thought I'd do it during the performance or afterwards.
I mean, he might in the comments section. He might put the donate link or something. I don't know. But that's great. Well,
thank you for this.
Both of you for joining me. I hope you've all had fun as well. But I might do a few more of my pieces quickly because they're really quick and easy to do. And then then I might pack up and then everything. But I'll see you at 6:30.
Right.
That's brilliant. Thank you very much, both of you. All right. See you later.
Later.
Bye. Bye.